So, anyone remember how Oda said that Luffy was not going to defeat Kaido with a final singular punch? And last chapter we saw that he defeated Kaido with a giant singular punch? Well, technically Kaido doesn't get defeated by a giant punch, but how he does get defeated does pack a punch. So you're going to see what that punch is in this review. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm here to do my review for One Piece Manga Chapter 1050 titled Honor. And overall, this was a very standard chapter for One Piece. There was a lot of cool stuff in it. We got to see a lot of characters and pretty much the conclusion of the fight between Luffy and Kaido, with a unexpected twist that you probably didn't see coming, because I certainly did not. But overall, there was just a strong focus of this chapter pretty much being a wrap-up, wrapping up certain character beats, certain story points when it comes to Wano, pretty much cementing that the arc is about to end and we're now getting into the post-arc wrap-up. So let's start diving into this review, talking about the cover page when it involves the Germa 66 Cold-Blooded Voyage Volume 12. And yeah, it's pretty much confirmed that both Reiji as well as Ichiji were the ones that came to rescue their brothers. We don't see that they're the ones that set the fire, but we do see that they are the ones in the same area, that they broke into Whole Cake Chateau or wherever they are located, and now they're there to rescue their siblings. So my pudding idea is probably not correct, but I'm still counting on pudding showing up in this cover story later on down the line. So the people who said that obviously those shoes are reminiscent of the Blackbeard Pirates were obviously wrong, and that it was definitely Reiju and Nichiji that helped save Yonji and Niji. But getting more into the chapter, let's start with the elephant in the room, how Kaido was defeated in this chapter, and we actually get an Oda box that confirms that Luffy did win this fight in the sky on Onigashima. Because what's interesting about how Kaido was defeated from what we're seeing in this chapter, and with the explanation of Kaido being officially defeated by Luffy, is that both Kaido as well as Big Mom are most likely defeated because they are underground in a section of Wano covered in magma and lava, and that a big explosion shoots them into the air that can be felt all around Wano. And it was at that moment that these characters have been officially defeated by Luffy, as well as Kid and Law. So this is very interesting because this is kind of different from what normally happens with the defeat of a main bad guy. Normally, Luffy is the one to deliver the final blow or be directly involved in that main villain's defeat. But from this chapter, the idea of it is that they weren't defeated necessarily by Luffy, Law, and Kid, but that these Yonko took a finishing blow from a huge magma explosion coming from underneath Wano. That my idea is that this is the way they're going to be thrown off Wano. They're going to fly somewhere else, and they may not be able to come back. So it's very interesting that Oda kept to the idea of Luffy defeating these Yonko without just punching them, but instead he does it by packing a huge explosive punch that can only be done by sending them on the ground and causing the lava to explode. So it's interesting to see a different kind of defeat of a main villain. But alongside that main defeat, that's pretty much what this chapter was. And once again, what we also see in this chapter is pretty much seeing the wrap up of Wano, getting to see certain aspects being resolved in these final chapters. And one of those things that is being resolved is the idea and the relationship between Yasue and Toko. Because you just have this really short flashback of Tengu explaining to Toko why her father, why Yasue did the things that he did, and he pretty much explains it to her that he sacrificed his life just to make sure that Wano has a brighter future and to also be very protective, and so that she could have a very bright future in the end. And this is even more interesting with some contradictory information that we thought that we had about Yasue and how he apparently ate a smile devil fruit, which is the reasoning why he was laughing, which directly contradicts information that we learned from the Vivre card, which is that he was the one that was just pretending to smile and that he was keeping a brave face the entire time. Either way, whether he ate the smile fruit or not, it shows his commitment to Wano alongside how much he loved and cared for Toko. The fact that he would either suffer all of these years pretending to put on a smile just to make everyone in Okobure town or the leftover village happy, or that he's willing to sacrifice his emotions to smile just to make Toko feel better. Either way, it's cool that we're getting more characterization for Yasue even though he is dead, but what just makes this moment a little bit more impactful is that how Toko, with the help of Tengu, changes the Lantern's wish from wanting to see her father to thanking him, and how this idea ties into the honor that samurai have in Wano, which is most likely the idea of them being remembered and never forgotten. So it's just a cool, very nice moment with Tengu as well as Toko, just sort of kind of resolving the issues that she might have had with her own father or surrogate's father's death. And another small moment in this chapter that pretty much gets resolved is that the fight and the war on Onigashima is completely ended by the fact that because you have the beast pirates who are still trying to fight against the samurai, even though you have Nekomamushi who tells them that Kaido was defeated, but you just have Yamato coming in after she saved Luffy from falling and hitting the ground, that, yo, are y'all really going to actually fight the guys that literally saved your lives? If you're gonna continue this fight, I'm gonna be the ones to end it. So, you know, you just had this small moment of Yamato pretty much ending the war or ending the battle at Onigashima, so that is another plot point that has, for the most part, been resolved. As well as we also get more hints or more ideas for how Momo is going to be handling Wano moving forward. All we do know and what we learn in this chapter is that Wano is not going to have their borders open yet, and that we do not know why Momonosuke doesn't want to open the borders yet, but most likely he does have his reason. And that could be the idea that he may not want to open up the borders yet because he is unaware of the world, and that he may want to travel the world and gain a better understanding of the world so that he can guarantee that it would be safe to open up the borders of Wano. Which may tie into the idea that he's going to join the Straw Hat crew and how these are going to be the next stepping stones for Momonosuke so that he can truly take his rightful rule as Shogun of Wano. Which is something else that is going to be addressed most likely in the next chapter, because at the end of this chapter and the final part of this chapter, you have Denjiro, along with the other red scabbards, riding on the back of Momonosuke in his dragon form, landing on the ground and preparing to announce to everyone in the capital who the new Shogun of Wano is, to the shock and chagrin of the fellow people in the capital. So most likely than not, we are going to get the reveal of who the Shogun is going to be, but more specifically, we're going to get a spitting image of who Momonosuke is going to be in this more adult form, most likely looking a lot like Odin. Or we could have Oda pull a twist and that the Shogun of Wano is actually going to be Komurasaki, aka Hiyori, who is also potentially able to be the Shogun of Wano by being of the Kozuki blood. So pretty much what this chapter is wrapping up all the smaller plot points in Wano, from Yasue and Toko's relationship to the defeat of Big Mom and Kaido, even including potentially the status of Zoro, Kiku, as well as Kinemon, and potentially revealing who the next Shogun is going to be. All of that is either being set up to be resolved or has been resolved in this chapter. So yeah, pretty much Wano has come to an end and we are getting the anticipated wrap-up chapter. And as I start to the chapters wrapping up the story of Wano, I think this is really good. Nothing really big or major happened besides the confirmation of Kaido and Big Mom being defeated, but it's still very nice and smaller things in this chapter that still makes it a very good chapter for One Piece. So yeah, pretty solid chapter, pretty solid reveals, and a pretty good wrap up to the ending of Wano, or the ending of the Four Emperors saga. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about this chapter. Hopefully you enjoyed this chapter. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. If you did, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below on what you thought about this chapter, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!